Let's make a resin cake. So I'm going to be using this epoxy resin from Let's Resin. I love using Let's Resin's products on all of my projects that I'm working on. Definitely check out Let's Resin's website. Discount code NAPTIME will give you a discount. This is their 1-to-1 ratio epoxy. And I was working on quite a few projects when I was making these, or when I was making this video. So I was mixing up 16 ounces. I typically always mix 16 ounces whenever I work with epoxy. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So you're going to do 8 ounces part A, which is this here, and 8 ounces part B. Inside your epoxy kit, you'll get a jug of A and a jug of B. And this is your part B, and it's equal parts 1-to-1 ratio by volume. So 8 ounces part A, 8 ounces part B, which is what I'm pouring in right now. And then we're going to mix that up for 3 minutes. It's really easy to work with epoxy. I will say you do want to wear a respirator mask when you work with epoxy, nitrile gloves, and work in a well-ventilated area. Because epoxy is a chemical in liquid form, so you want to make sure that you are protecting your hands, with nitrile gloves and working in a well-ventilated area and wearing a respirator mask. So I'm mixing this up for 3 minutes. Just take your time, mix slowly. You don't want to introduce a bunch of air bubbles into it while you're mixing. You don't want to whip it up. Just go slowly like this. Scrape the bottom of your cup, scrape the sides of your cup, scrape off your stir stick. And I actually do a double cup mixing technique or method, and I'll show you that here in just a second, exactly what that is. You can see it's looking kind of cloudy. There's striations and stringy lines in the mix, and once your epoxy is completely mixed, you're not going to see those stringy lines and the cloudiness. It's going to look completely clear. So it's almost been 3 minutes. I'm going to take this mix and I'm going to pour it into another clean cup, this cup here. And you want to make sure you get every single drop out of that first cup. Otherwise, your mixture or your ratios will be off and your resin might not set up properly. Two biggest reasons why your epoxy doesn't set up is your parts A and B were not completely equal, or your epoxy was under mixed. So you want to make sure you scrape every drop out of that first cup, and then we're going to mix this up for another 3 minutes. This is why it's called the double cup mixing technique, because you're using 2 different cups to mix up your epoxy. Same thing, mix slowly, scrape the bottom of the cup, scrape the sides of your cup, scrape off your stir stick. Really make sure you're incorporating those parts A and B together, and then you'll be good to go after 3 minutes. If you do the double cup mixing method, your epoxy is guaranteed to set up properly. It's not going to not set up due to under mixing. So we're almost done mixing this up. You just want to take your time, really make sure that that is completely mixed up, and then we're going to get started on our project. I'm so excited to try these cake molds from Let's Resin. You can get them off their website. They're absolutely adorable. We're going to be pouring these in 2 different layers. So this mold is going to come with a little foam insert. You want to make sure you keep that inside the mold while you're pouring the epoxy. So the mold keeps its shape as your piece is curing. So make sure you don't get rid of the foam insert that comes with the mold. Just put the foam back inside the mold like this, push it down, and then you're good to start pouring. And Let's Resin also sells these mixing cups on their website. They have everything you need to do resin. Discount code NAPTIME will give you a discount on their website. I'm going to be using these little spouted pouring cups today, and their ocean white is my favorite white to use. I only used 1 drop in 1 ounce of clear, which is what you'll see here, and it's going to give me a nice opaque pigmented white epoxy. I'm going to be using this to do the frosting layer on the lid of the cake mold. Just mix it up really well. You want to make sure that that white is completely stirred into the clear. And this white also works really good to make resin flower coasters. So definitely check out my other videos if you haven't seen those. I make some really beautiful resin flower coasters with this white epoxy pigment as well. So I'm just going to go in and fill in the frosting details on the lid of this mold. These cups make it so easy to get a nice controlled pour like this. You don't want to overfill this part. I just wanted to fill in the frosting details just like this, and that's it for the lid on this layer. I'm going to let this cure, and then we're going to go and do a little bit on the base or the bottom part of the cake jar. I'm going to be using some colors from this mica powder set from Let's Resin. It's got every color you could ever want. Really great deal on their website. I'm going to be using the orchid color, and I'm also going to be using their interference mica powders. I absolutely love these. They're so pretty. They look like a pearl white, but they have a touch of color to them. And when I mix up my micas, I have anywhere from 2 to 3 ounces of clear in my cup. I'll add a pea-size amount of my mica and mix it up. And I'm also using a little bit of glitter. I was just pouring my different colors into this cup, layering them on top of each other to make a dirty pour. And now I'm going to go in and fill the first layer of the base of the cake mold, just like this, just pouring it. And you want to make sure you don't overfill this part because the bottom of this mold has the frosting details on the mold as well. So you just want to fill it right up to that part where the frosting starts. You can see it on the side of the mold. It's kind of hard to describe, but when you see the mold in person, you'll know what I'm talking about. I just poured in a little bit of clear to fill up the mold the rest of the way, and a little bit more of my colors, and that's going to be it. Then we're going to go in tomorrow and fill up the rest of the part of the lid, and then the white frosting details on the base part of the mold. Really, really loving these colors together. Definitely check out Let's Resin. Like I said, they have everything you need to get started with resin. They have a lot of really cool molds, and their prices are really affordable too. And my code NAPTIME will give you a discount on their website, or you can also shop their products on Amazon. Discount code NAPTIME24 will give you a discount on Amazon on their store. They have a storefront on there. So I'm just going to let this cure overnight. Here we are the next day. Same thing for the lid. I'm going to use the interference mica powders, some white, and some clear. And those interference micas have a really cool color shifting look to them. They look different if you use them with darker colors. So it's really fun to experiment with those. Just poured my colors into my cup, layering them like a dirty pour. And then I'm going to fill up the rest of the lid portion of this mold. And then I'm going to take all white and fill up this mold the rest of the way with just white. Super easy. I'm going to let these cure for 24 hours. Here we are getting ready to take them out of the mold. And on this one, I did a little bit of a oopsie. I was holding my cup in one spot when I was pouring, and I got a little bare spot on the lid, but that's okay. I just wanted to show you that. If you have glitter in your pour, kind of move your cup around so that way you don't pour all in one spot in your mold and you won't have a little bare spot problem. But I really love how this piece turned out. The gradient of the pink is so pretty with that glitter in there. So, so cute. I really, really love this. And you could use polymer clay sprinkles with some UV resin and just attach those to the frosting if you wanted to. You could take a vinyl decal and jazz this up or do rhinestones on it. I think I might do rhinestones on the lid of this one because I had that little oopsie, but here's how a vinyl decal would look. Really, really fun. A great project. This mold is so adorable, and I think it's only like $11.99, so not too bad. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Let me know what colors I should do next, and thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to check out Let's Resin. Bye guys. I'll see you soon for another video.